Are you ready to get the Hydrafacial glow? Loved in 87 countries across the world. It's not a facial, it's a Hydrafacial. Now available across the UK. Visit hydrafacial.co.uk to find your nearest location.
Hi, Debbie. Hi, everyone out there.
2022.
I know, I've missed you.
Oh, I missed you too. How was the panto?
Oh, it was fantastic. Yeah, we never missed a show, which was absolutely amazing. They were all shutting around us, and Scotland shut their shows and Wales shut their shows. And we were so careful. We're testing twice a day and keeping in the bubble. And we managed to do every single performance, and it was full. And we broke box office records there. So in this climate, it was amazing to have done that.
And talking of climate, was it cold in the dressing rooms? Because you had to have the doors open all the time, didn't you?
Well, we did have the back door open a lot, but no, it's been such a mild winter so far. It wasn't cold up
Even
there
up
at all.
there?
Yeah. Went
Wow.
for walks on the beach, and I just absolutely fell in love with Whitley Bay. I know that you lived there for a while.
No, I didn't live there for a while, but I mean, it's a place that I used to go to as a child.
Oh,
Because it was because I come from Sunderland, and that was where you kind of used to go at the weekends. You know, it was like the nearest sort of like the fun fair and all of that lot. But I know they've really upgraded it there, haven't they?
oh, honestly, some of the restaurants were just amazing. And we went to the Grand Hotel there for Christmas dinner, and they spoiled us rotten. And I just the little drive, we had a flat right on the coast, like opposite the sea, and the theatre's like 2 minutes from the sea. So our drive to work each day was like 5 minutes in the car right along the coast. And every morning, like in rehearsals, we were up really early, and we'd see the sunrise. It was just absolutely really good for the soul to be near the sea.
Yeah, it's lovely. But the thing is now, because now we're into the new year, I've got bits of me that weren't there before. I know your bits have come off, haven't they?
Well, I've been exercising with the dancers in the show, and yeah, no, I'm probably in better shape than before I went. I'm the only woman in the world that loses weight at Christmas doing 3 shows a day. But I know it's difficult for people out there. We've had 2 years on the couch, eating too much, and then Christmas, gorging on everything and chocolates and everything, all the presents you get given and things. So it is time to tell people not to diet. We don't want them to diet. We want them to just get healthier and a little bit fitter. And I've got Michelle Coates with me now, who is my personal trainer. I've had her for a few months before I went away, and she's amazing, and she's here with us now.
Hi, Michelle. Lovely to meet you.
And nice to meet you, Debbie, too. Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, it's a
Hi,
pleasure.
Michelle.
Hi, Linda. Hi.
Now, I need to know, what is the best way to get into shape after Christmas?
Right. Well, can I firstly start by saying, this time of year, there is so much information out there, and a lot of it misinformation, I think, about, what's the healthiest way to start eating, or what's the most effective way to start exercising. I think there's so much out there this time of year that people can get very confused. And I think also this time of year, there's a lot of companies pushing, the latest kind of quick fix diet or supplements to be taking, or gimmicking exercise kind of tools. My biggest advice to people is to understand that there's no one size fits all. There's no umbrella approach to having a healthy lifestyle and getting back into shape, because we are all unique. And I think, what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another. And if people can go into it with that open mind, I think you're halfway there. So what I like to suggest to clients is to think about small changes. So don't think about the massive big picture. For example, I want to start running. Don't go out and try and run 10 miles, on January the 1st.
She won't. Don't worry about that. She won't.
So what I like to do is create habits, small habits. So I would say to that person who wants to start running, right, go outdoors and run for 60 seconds. And get in your head that you can run 60 seconds every day. Now, that doesn't sound, I know people think that doesn't sound a lot. That's not going to have any effect. But what you're doing is you're creating a behavior, a change in behavior. You can do it every day, whether you're busy or not. And also then it gives you the ability to be more ambitious week by week. So 60 seconds can turn into 5 minutes, can then turn into 15 minutes, can then, before you know it, you're running that 5 miles or you're running that 10 miles. It's about creating repetition, not a big end goal. I think people get, they set their sights too big too soon, I think, and people can't maintain that.
And it is, obviously, you need to combine that with some small food changes as well. What are the main things that people do wrong with their food? What are the small changes that they could implement in this January?
Absolutely. I think most people admit, coming off the back of Christmas, it's, they're indulging. So I think sugar is probably high on most people's list. So whether that's alcohol or whether that's sweet things. So my biggest piece of advice to people trying to eat healthy is to try and cut down on sugar intake. There's so many foods out there that have hidden sugars in them, like bread, for example, pasta, things like that you don't realize. And some fruits, for example, are very high in sugars. And people don't realize that they're consuming sugar. They think it's just those kind of brands that we get, that we see on the television every day. So the biggest advice, again, would be to think small, don't think big, don't say, right, I'm going to go cold turkey, not eat any carbohydrate ever again. It's remove something easy out of your diet. So let's say I'm not going to eat pasta, for example, and try and do that for a week. And then start maybe removing more sugary items or more sugary drinks. The silent killer is what we call it really in the UK. It's no longer eating too much fat, for example. People are consuming way too much sugar, and it's quite frightening.
So if you were removing your pasta, what would you replace it with?
Yeah, so instead, try to eat something a little bit more protein-based. So things like lean meats, or things like eggs are good sources, or fish are good sources. So instead of reaching for the rice or the pasta, maybe just have the chicken and on the fish and add a salad or add some vegetables with it. That is a much better way of cutting down the sugars, and the metabolism kind of uses that more efficiently, and the excess doesn't get stored as fat. That's what happens when you're eating too much sugar. It's belly fat, unfortunately. And for a lot of women especially, that's the area that we're all a little bit conscious of. And sugar in excess or too much is unfortunately stored there on most people, male and female.
So what do you recommend for vegans and vegetarians?
I mean, goodness, what a great time to be wanting to be a vegan or a vegetarian. There is so much, there's some great plant-based products out there. Obviously, your usual vegans will obviously migrate towards a selection of vegetables, etc., and fruits, things like that. But there are some great alternatives. So you can now get the vegan-based lasagna products, or the vegan, the vegan sausage rolls and things like that. There are so many kind of meat alternatives, corn, for example, things like that.
But are they still classed as protein?
Yeah, yes, they're not, they're not traditional in that sense, but you are still getting that into your diet. Yes, absolutely.
Because I got a vegan meal the other day. I just picked it up, of course, because I don't cook anything. Stop it, Linda. And I looked at it, and it was
she can't cook. She can't do anything. A real girly girl.
Yes, sorry about that. It's it was very, very calorific.
Yeah,
that really shocked me. Really, really high in calories.
So I think, from my point of view, what I think you've kind of touched on a subject that's a really good point to bring up, actually, Debbie, because I think as well, male and female, but females especially, we do count calories. Like you pick something up, and the first thing we do probably is look at the calorie intake there. Now, the point I'd like to make is that not all calories are equal. And that's difficult to understand when you're trying to lose weight, for example. So maybe a bag of nuts is very high in calories, as we all know. But the calories there are a quality calorie that the body will use more efficiently than, say, a big bar of dairy milk, which again is high in calories. But when you place them side by side and how the body will utilize those calories, it's very different. And I think that's the mindset that people need to get in. Not all calories are equal. Things like an avocado, very high in calories, probably similar to a couple of biscuits. But what would you rather snack on, an avocado or a couple of biscuits? The goodness. Yeah, we all
love the
would,
avocado.
absolutely. Yeah. Oh, well done, Linda. Well done, Linda.
But actually, I was watching a programme last night that they were just basically saying calorie counting does not work, and that is the worst way of dieting, and that you really shouldn't diet. You should just try and eat natural, healthy stuff. and cut down your portions if you're trying to lose weight, really, and just eat what you want, but just smaller portions.
And that's great. And I think that information is slowly trickling through. And I say my favorite diet is the no diet diet. You shouldn't really be restricting yourself or counting calories with anything. Like you say, it's educating yourself with knowing your food groups, portion control, the times of day that you eat. All of those things are way more important than counting calories. I mean, that, if you don't mind, that brings me on to a really important point, is a lot of people don't know what a carbohydrate is and what a protein is. They don't know their food groups. And I think a really easy way to think about it is any carbohydrate is what I call things that don't have any eyes. I know that sounds silly, but things like vegetables, fruits, they're carbohydrate, pastas, rice, things like that. Bread, for example, is a carbohydrate, potatoes. Things that have eyes or a set of fins are proteins. That's quite a simple, easy way to think about the two food groups. It might help people with their choices.
Many years ago, I lost an awful lot of weight. I lost, in my early 20s, I lost 3.5 stone and I never put it on again. Wow. But that was because I changed the way I ate forever.
Yes.
And that was, it had to be like that. It just, it was just different. And, I've had babies since then and the weight's always just come back off. So it was all in my mind.
Debbie, what did you change?
Everything.
Like
so I used to eat, like, for example, I'd always have milky coffee in the mornings. And I used to eat a lot. I was fed by my grandma, like nice Jewish girl with all the lovely Jewish foods, and just, used to eat a lot. And then when I started I did start on actually it was the Scarsdale diet. In those days, it was probably one of the first diets. So what I did was I started to eat protein, exactly as you said. I was really, really, really stringent. And then I only dieted like that for about 2 weeks, but then I was able to actually just change my whole diet. It just worked like that, and it just carried on.
What do they say? Something like, you do something for 21 days, like if you cut out chocolate completely for 21 days, you stop craving it.
Absolutely, and that is true, because it creates a behavioural change. And that's what goes back to my first point, is if you want to get in shape or put more muscle on or lose weight, if you just make, like you say, one change there and stick and try and do it every day consistently, you create neural pathways, that becomes ingrained. The brain recognizes those things. Like you say, you're not, because you're without it, you don't crave it anymore because you've done it for a consistent period of time. And that's just learning behaviors. And that's what drives the behavioral change, whether it's eating habits, fitness, meditation, giving up smoking, whatever it may be. Yes, so you're quite right.
Somebody who is exercise resistant, like me.
Right.
I'm so unfamiliar with the gym. I call it James. They've heard this joke 500 times before. I do what I'm saying. I'm exercise resistant. I walk at least for an hour and a half every day with my dogs.
You're active.
I'm active, but not gym active.
When you talk about gyms or training, it's structured exercise, and what you're describing is brilliant because you're naturally an active person, which is fantastic. Now, if you're resistant, is it the gym that you don't like, or is it and do you know what? And that's another great point. I call it, it's gym intimidation. That it's actually a thing where people don't like going into a gym for many reasons. I don't know what yours is, Debbie, just because you don't like the atmosphere or you're not sure what to do. And I think there are lots of people like you. And again, it's great that you brought it up. My advice to somebody like that is, I know it sounds corny, but you do, like you say, you have to find something that you enjoy to start with. Walking, etc., is great. But I think for females especially, doing some form of resistance exercise, using weights, is so important, because our anatomy is very different to men, and we have issues obviously because we give birth to children, and we have different things that change in our bodies as we get older, along with our hormonal cycles. So we have things like our hip angle widens, our hips become wider, and therefore the angle from the hip to the knee is greater. And women are more susceptible to hip problems, knee problems, and ankle problems. And what we need to do is to strengthen all those muscles, so the glutes, the quads, the hamstrings, which are in the legs. If we get those nice and strong, we can then prevent things like that happening further down the line, which guys don't have to worry about. So it's really important that as we do get older, that we do use some kind of weight-bearing activity to make legs and the core a lot stronger. So someone who's a little bit exercise resistant, what I like to recommend to my clients is snackable workouts. So it's a 10-minute workout or even 15 minutes. And what it's trying to do is incorporate functional training tools that make exercise a little bit more fun and not so structured. So things like a Swiss ball, medicine ball, kettlebells, dumbbells, resistance bands, anything like that. And you get the added benefits of increasing the metabolism more as well. So you're burning more body fat, you're burning calories at a quicker rate, and it also becomes way more effective. And I think people tend to stick to something like where they have more variety and it's not just repetitive, the same thing over and over again.
Having just done the panto, we're made to warm up every day before the show.
Yeah.
And it was only like 10, 15 minutes, just running on the spot, doing, star jumps, rolling your shoulders, doing all this sort of stuff. And you know what? My strength has really improved, and I lost quite a lot of weight during the whole season, and I was still eating the same. So, if you do a little bit of exercise, you can actually eat the same and still lose weight, can't you?
Exactly, Linda. I think you've made the great point there. And it's something that a little something every day is better than doing nothing every day. If you can do that every day, and it's easy to do, it doesn't take a lot of time, but what it does is circulation improves. It gets some oxygenated blood around the system, endorphins, those happy hormones. And also, I think we haven't touched on this yet, the benefits mentally, for mental health, especially the couple of years we've all had, it's so important to try and give, those endorphins to get those into your system. And especially now when people are back to working from home at this moment in time, they haven't got their, usual interaction with people. You've got to try and get, that endorphin hit and those happy hormones, and exercise is such a great way to do that.
So if you were going to tell Debbie to buy one piece of equipment, what would it be?
Oh, I would tell Debbie.
Keep it clean.
Yeah, not that. You've already got that in your drawer, your bedroom drawer.
Yeah, I didn't come on to talk about that. No. So I would suggest for Debbie a Swiss ball. Do you know what a Swiss ball is, Debbie?
It sounds awful.
It's a big inflatable ball.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it's a fantastic tool. You can stretch on it. You can lie on it. You can roll over it. You can balance on it. You can do all sorts of interesting exercise on the ball to give you variety. And it is so effective. It's not expensive. It's about £20. You can get them on Amazon. And I encourage all of my clients to buy one. And you can deflate it and travel with it. You can take it anywhere. It's a perfect, very cheap, but kind of super adaptive piece of kit that I recommend everyone to have. I reckon I could get you standing on one of those, Debbie, in about 6 months. She looks scared, Linda. I think I've scared her off.
You have. She just have to stop all her dogs biting it. That's the trouble.
And I'll tell you what else it's great for is I know lots of people are working remotely now, or they're like you guys. You do a lot of interaction on Zoom, for example. When I'm doing my stuff on Zoom, I sit on my Swiss ball. It's a great way for maintaining good posture because you've got instability on the ball and it fires up all those core muscles. It makes you elongate the spine, sit properly, you can breathe better. And I encourage people to sit on a Swiss ball, just when they're doing maybe one Zoom call a day, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's amazing the strength that it can build in the core, and it really does kind of help with your posture. It's a really, really good thing to try.
Sounds and amazing. Also, I know you're an advocate of only eating for 12 hours out the 24.
I'm a big, yes, I am. I'm a big fan of intermittent fasting. Yes, I am. Now, for someone who's perhaps just embarking on a healthy eating regime, I probably wouldn't recommend to go straight into that. But, someone who's maybe looking to kind of hone in, to really get that really kind of extra body fat, get rid of that stubborn belly fat, for example, in those annoying places on the body, I do recommend it in intermittent fasting, yes. And you can do it in two ways. The ones that are most out there in the domain are the 5-2. And again, not wanting to get too hung up on the calories. So this one isn't my favourite, but it is.
I don't like that one.
People. Yeah. Then the one I recommended to you, Linda, was the 16-8, where you have 16 hours of the day where you're fasting, and then 8 hours of the day where you are allowed to eat. And for women especially, that 16-8 works a lot better. And the men tend to like the 5-2, from my experience.
I think I do that naturally anyway.
Lots of people do. Do you?
Yeah.
I do. And I think lots of people aren't necessarily big breakfast people. They wake up and they don't necessarily, And it's great. And if you can, wait till later in the day and maybe do some activity, whether it's a dog walk for you, Debbie, or or Linda do some form of training, that makes it even more effective. And then come back and then have the first thing that you eat about 11 o'clock or 12, and then have a few snacks, main meal before 7 o'clock, and then you fast again. And it's very effective. Again, if you can stick with that for 21 days, 28 days consecutively, you'll really see some great results that way.
Brilliant.
It'll be so scary next time you see us.
I won't. That's right. Then you'll be standing on a Swiss ball. You'll be unrecognisable with all of these.
You're so thin you won't be able to see me.
Well, as you say, you've already made a kickstart already with your snackable workouts.
Thank you so much. You've given us so much to work on there. Anything else for people out there just to keep in mind, just little changes that they can make?
I think so. Again, little habits, create a small habit that is stickable. And one more is to get enough sleep. Sleep is really, really important. Quality sleep, that's when we heal. That's when we repair mentally and physically. And lots of people have very, very up and down sleeping patterns, going to bed way too late, not getting quality of sleep. So I'd recommend that. And also try and move every day. And that doesn't have to be going to the gym. Like Debbie said, walking the dogs or taking yourself off for a brisk walk or a jog, anything, just to try and move every day, at least for 10 minutes. And I think they would be my, small changes, and they have big carryover. And that would be my, my biggest pieces of advice, I think.
Well, thank you for making me feel not so bad about my exercise.
You're more than welcome.
Thanks so much, Michelle, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you. I'll see you soon. Bye now.
Bye, Michelle.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Debbie. Bye.
So that was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, you've just got to make it's little and often, isn't it? It's little and often with the exercise, and little and often with the food, and smaller portions. And but I am trying. I'm trying to eat healthier because I just want to live longer, really, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. And I think when you get to a certain age, not that we're at that age, of course, but when you just get to a certain age, it's now time to literally feed your body the good stuff. And I think years ago, I was just thinking about this when we were talking. I was thinking, years and years ago, when we were kids, the food that we had was very, very nutritious when we were growing up. It really was. And you used to eat 3 times a day, but you used to eat good stuff. You didn't used to snack. You used to eat whatever was put in front of you. And now the kids, going around, the kids can have anything, any sort of supper that they want. There's so many fast food places. These just weren't around when we were growing up.
Your mum would cook a dinner, and if you didn't eat it, you went without. So whatever she cooked for you, you ate. You weren't going, I don't like that. Yeah, I'll have something else. Yeah,
exactly. And I think the food that was very nutritious. And I was thinking about my grandma. So my grandma and my grandpa lost a lot of weight, and there must have been when they were in their 20s, which was probably about, I don't know, 1920 something, 1930s. And my grandpa kept the tickets. So they used to go and weigh themselves at a certain place in Newcastle. And he used to keep the tickets of how much they weighed to start with. And every week he'd get a ticket of how much they'd lost. And what my grandma used to do was just stock the potatoes. They used to be able to have potatoes once a week. And then she stocked the puddings. And they both lost, I think, 2 stone each.
Wow.
And I've still
it was intentional. It was intentional weight loss then.
Yeah. But that's what they have to go and get weighed in this place in Newcastle, which is a big, big scale. And then they got a ticket with their weight on it.
So like the very first Weight Watchers, really, then.
Just her and grandpa, yes. But it was very interesting. And potatoes, and they just cut out those sort of things.
Well, I know certain people only have 1 meal a day, like Cliff Richard only has 1 meal a day. But I don't think I could last till 6 o'clock at night without eating.
No, I don't think so. And I think, you find out what's good for you. But I think the thing is that these days we have got to eat healthier. And I know this is going to sound terrible, but this morning I heard that McDonald's are doing a vegan burger.
Well, that's good, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah. Now they've got to move with the times, otherwise they're going to get completely.
But that means I just love, because I don't eat beef, so I'll be around there later, I think.
Oh, have you not tried one yet then?
No, I'm desperate to try them, because Beyond Burgers are very good. All of those vegan stuff, they're really good. I love all the vegan meals. Yeah. And the Ivy, all these sort of local Ivy restaurants, they're all doing a vegan menu now as well. So there's an awful lot.
Well, I think they've got to. They're going to get left behind otherwise, aren't they? Because people's tastes are changing completely, and we're all becoming quite knowledgeable about food, and none of us want to put rubbish inside ourselves. We are like, you wouldn't put 2-star petrol in a 5-star petrol car, would you?
No, you're a Lamborghini, darling. So who is going to put anything else but the highest form of petrol in you? This is now sounding very disgusting. It really is.
I have 5-star unleaded, please. I don't know what kind of petrol Dee uses, but I know she's here with us now, and I haven't got a clue what she's talking about today.
Twinkle,
sure it'd be interesting.
little Dee, how I wonder what you see in the future for us to eat. Who knows? Here's Dee.
Follow me, I'll take you to where you wanna be. Hi everybody, Happy New Year and welcome back to Planet D. So, are we all ready to lose weight and get fit? Yes, I know I am. And I'm going to give you a big tip, because I've done loads of yo-yo diets, putting on stones, losing them, pounds, oh my goodness. I've got the t-shirt. So now I want you to look at gut health. For those of you who don't know what gut health is, it's really simple. It's about the bacteria in your intestines. The good bacteria, because we all need it to function. Scientists have been looking at this for years. I mean, at one point, nobody really cared about it. They didn't think it was important, but it is now. And we've got to do something about it, because we strip it with antibiotics, if you're not well, if you eat the wrong food. So, how to remedy this? It's very simple. Just get some supplements. I can tell you all about the best supplements to get. I've got a very good health practitioner, Suzanne Chalkley, who runs Health Direct in Northern Ireland. She'd be really happy to help. Also, A Vogel are very good. They do some fantastic supplements all round, especially for gut health. The other thing I would like to say to you is a balanced diet, a really good balanced diet. And don't overindulge. Try to have regular meals and do it slowly. Don't be impatient. If you can lose a pound or 2 a week, that is brilliant, and it will stay off as long as you look after your gut health. So supplements, I would choose anything really to put the good bacteria back into my intestine. Once that's there, it will look after everything. You will maintain the weight loss, believe me. So let's see how it all goes. I'm going to go on a little bit of a health kick. Lose a few pounds that I put on over Christmas. We all did. So, write to me. Let me know how it goes. It's all very exciting. Gut health is key. Happy New Year, everybody. From Planet D. See you soon. Bye.
Well, I'm still none the wiser what she was on about, but anyway, we love her.
So next time we come back, we will have started our fitness regime.
We will, and we can talk about it. And I may have had some funny little treatment done too, which I can talk about, which I'm having done tomorrow. But I will show you the whole process, and hopefully I will look 10 years younger when you see me next time.
If you get any younger, you look 12 and a half. It'd be ridiculous.
Oh, that's lovely. You look very well, actually, Debbie, I must say. Maybe it's my new phone I got for Christmas making you look better.
Thank you. Honestly, I was waiting. She hasn't been nasty to me all day, so it was just waiting for that boom. Anyway, I hope to see you soon in real life, Miss Lusardi. But in the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe to us on YouTube, and also follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, at the Beauty Angels. Yeah. So we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Happy New Year.